Works. All right. Thanks, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. So you have seen the architecture. Now we are going to see the last layer of the architecture, which is the cockpit. I'm going to show you short video, right? So don't worry, it's not going to be slide and talk. It's going to be short videos between every single feature. And at the end, the guy who would love to be on stage will be showing, will show you the next cockpit, basically. And I'll show you. Yes, perfect. So I'm Adrian, cloud early tech lead, and since this morning I'm a guest at Magnolia. You will hear about that. And of course, Lucas, who presented himself before, right? So the first question you can ask is, why do we provide a cockpit while we have a Rancher, right? I know Seb praised using Rancher. I'm the opposite. Rancher is error prone. It's a very good tool, but you need skills. You need actually a lot of skills and understanding about Kubernetes to use it, right?
Thank you.
You're DevOps, right? So the first and sole objective is to abstract the complexity of the Kubernetes cluster, right? So things like updating your certificate, uploading certificates, backup and restore, all this stuff, we intend to solve it in a simple way in the cockpit, right? No worry, the video will show a few examples. It's not only words on the screen. Also, Rancher doesn't display, they have few metrics and few logs, right? But they don't display everything into one screen, right? So Lucas, for instance, and Bartosz, our front-end developer, work to make screen which mix different information coming from the cluster, coming from the metrics and the log server, right? And eventually our main goal is to simplify your life, the day-to-day operation, which is to be redirect, define redirect certificate, managing your ingress, all those simple day-to-day operations we want to solve. I'm not going to stay too long on the architecture. They have said a lot, but since end of 2024, we are on 3 regions, which means logs, metrics, and cockpit are decentralized. So you're, as a customer, you're assigned to the closest cluster of your place. So we have one in the US, one in EMEA, one in APAC, and soon one in China. We are working it actually right now. A few other words, right? So we are regionalized. Every layer of the path, like what Seb showed you, is secured with a central authentication system, which is Keycloak, right? And since the end of last year, we are using the very last version of Keycloak, and we stick to it. It's ruling the access and the authorization of all the layers of the path. Also, Seb said it, so it's cloud agnostic. The regional server and the cockpit are running on 2 different cloud providers, which is Mironet from the guy seated at the back of, and AWS, but China will be running on another one. So we'll be running on 3 different cloud providers. We have a fast pace. The backend is faster than the front end, right? I have to say. The backend is released every night. So we have a pipeline system. Basically, whenever it's merged to master, then the following days it's released in the API, basically. The front end could be 2, but we decided to release every week because we do release not. We also do documentation and we also communicate internally. So we do have a 1-week release pace. For the cockpit, that's just for to show you that everything is regionalized. So you have, I will use this stuff. So you have basically the regions and the domain of the regions, and that will rule every access to every tools of the path. So that works for the cockpit, but that works with Rancher as well, and GitLab, if you actually have GitLab with us. And now the crunchy part, which is the features. So the very first feature I will show you is managing your environment. So you have different environment, you have prod, you have pre-prod UAT integration, you name it. It's up to you to define them. And Rancher, no bad on Rancher, right, will display you in several screens the information you need. So how many environment I have, how many public I have, is the order up and down. So it's not really user-friendly, it's more DevOps-friendly. And that's what we intend to solve with that view. You're going to view actually very soon. It's managing everything in one screen, right? So let's see. Hey, you're walking. So basically you can see you log into the cockpit and you see all the environments, right? So you can decide to manage it, and then you can see here, we have only one auto running. I will stop it. And you can see on the other side the equivalent in the launcher, right? So basically what we do is we operate on the cluster, and both launcher and the cockpit are client of the cluster. So you see I had to click a few times there, but here everything is refreshed every 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. And you will see all the container, all the unique container disappear once they are ready, right? You also have a direct link here just to access the log and see, we'll see it later, to see the log of the environment starting. You see, I have to click quite a lot on the launcher side, right? While in here, you will stay always in one screen. It's actually, he defined it, he and Fabi's measurement. It's, I'm glad you were before me.
You see, we have a lot of fun in the cloud team.
So here, yes. So I click on the show loads and you can see the Magnolia. Right? I mean, that's a starting log, as you know, right? Every module start. Whenever that stuff will be great, that means the application is up and running and ready to be used. So you need to wait. It's going to happen about 60 seconds here. So Magnolia take about 45 seconds to start, depending on how much data you have to index, but this instance is pretty empty, so it's 45 seconds to start. And planned. Anyway, it's running. So, I mean, you can see the complete synchronicity between the two applications, right? So we actually inspired from Launcher. The Launcher has a good feature set, right? It's just very complicated for Lambda users. So here I just deleted the index. That's something you can't do in Launcher. So deleting the index is something very Magnolia specific. It's like you have some time to refresh the Lucene index. You can do it by here, and you can see it's very fast. So we log into the pod, we delete the index, we restart the pod, and all of this is automated by the cockpit. Next. The next thing you might want to check, I think it was mentioned before, it's you want to check how your infrastructure you like, right? So you want to check if you are deployed on every AZ, if you have the DB and the other instance in the Magnolia instance on the same node to reduce the latencies. So we have actually designed a feature, a view, which consolidates all those information. So you can see all the cluster, all the nodes, and you can see which nodes belong to which zone. And you can make sure that your prod deployment is available, right? So you can see it's in the same screen here. So you log into the cockpit, you will go to the infrastructure over there. And you can also see we released the metrics, so you can see the current CPU and memory usage of every node. If it turns red, you might need to add more nodes, right? So you can see here, that's now our corporate website. It's pretty well deployed. So the public one is together with the DB1. Each of them are on different nodes to ensure high availability. And you can see the two public are on different AZ. So that's basically what we intend to do, what we test as well in the pre-go live check, that you are deployed across different regions to make sure if one region goes down, your website will still be up. You also have a feature then, so by default, we display only the Magnolia workloads, but we also, by a simple checkbox, you can see everything which is installed on your cluster. And that's probably the most complicated feature and the one generating one of the most support tickets, which is the certificate. It's a very complicated topic, but basically we identify 3 types of certificate, right? The first one is the on-demand certificate. So you just want to generate a certificate together with your ingress, and you don't want to do anything. And that I will show you in the last video. It's a simple checkbox in the ingress, and then the cockpit will operate everything for you behind. But what I'm going to show you now is the managed certificate and the custom certificate, right? So because the on-demand certificate do not work for a wildcard domain, when you want to use a wildcard domain, you have to use one of those 2 solutions. The managed certificate is basically you want to manage the domain, but you don't want to manage the certificate. So I will show you after. You basically generate a CNAME, we give it to you, you register in your DNS, and the certificate is ready to be used. And the custom certificate is basically if you want to manage everything yourself. The certificate and the domain. That means you have your own certificate authority and you will manage yourself the renewal. So how does it work? Same here, you go to the networking tab, certificate, you can see that the certificate generated on demand by the hand chart. And then you can actually add a managed certificate. So let's start with that. So the only thing we need is the domain you want to certify, right? So dev days, for instance. And the issuer, which is Let's Encrypt so far. We only support Let's Encrypt, right? But maybe in the future, 0SSL will be one thing. So it will generate an empty certificate for the domain and the wildcard domain. And then you can click here and we present you with the Acme challenge. You have to record into your DNS. Once this is done, about 5-10 minutes after, the certificate will be ready to be used and assigned to your ingress. The second one is the custom certificate, right? So custom certificate, you just need to provide it working with a CSR, the certificate request. So you have to provide all the entity information, which is common name, organization, country, and all this kind of information required to generate a certificate. Let's go. And so here we go. So once we have everything generated, we have the certificate. It will generate again an empty certificate, but this time instead of Acme challenge, you will be presented a CSR by installing the certificate. We have a small glitch here. And here, basically the CSR is to be provided to certificate authority. So you go to your certificate authority, you provide a CSR, you basically generate a certificate, you come back to the cockpit, you paste it here, and you can install the certificate and use in the Raspberry. The other feature released lately is to manage different type of secret from the cockpit, right? So you have different type of secret. The opaque one, which is basically application secret to be injected into Magnolia, and then you have them available as environment variable. But you also have the registry secret. That's basically what gives us access to your Docker registry when Kubernetes needs access to your registry to download the image you want to deploy on Magnolia, right? Backend and frontend. So basically here, you will manage the access to your Docker. And the last one is basic code. So sometimes, like the dev environment, you don't want to expose publicly. There is different mechanism like IP whitelisting, which we don't like, or basic code, which is quite okay. So you have the basic authentication required to access your Magnolia environment. But that secret you can manage through the code. So you would go also then networking tab, and then you have basically a secret, which is namespace feature as well, right? So when you click add, you can actually choose what type of secret you want to create. Yes. So it's a mapped value map, right? So you can have as many secrets as you want. We, on the background, we deal with the encryption of the secret, store it in Kubernetes, and then you can use those secrets directly into your end deployment. There you go. Then we'll go for, that's probably the most interesting one, right? Because you, as from the dev side, your pipeline are pushing into a Docker registry. Sometimes it's on our cloud, so we don't need to have access. But when it's on your own Docker registry, we need to have access to the registry, right? So you can change your password, you can manage your own password with this UI. And the last one, of course, the basic auth. So the basic auth is pretty interesting because the feature of Launcher, which is basic auth secret, will not work with Nginx. Nginx requires a special way of generating the salt in the secret. So we have implemented all that logic into the cockpit, and that's just ready to be used in an ingress. Here we go. Also, that's a pretty interesting feature because the redirect, you can manage redirect wherever you want. You can manage then at the DNS level, you can at the CDN level, at the Nginx level, but they all have kind of a cost or financial cost or maintenance cost, right? So what we have done here, with the help of our Mirrornet partner, we developed a very nice redirect server. It's a simple redirect server which is deployed next to Magnolia. and you can configure the redirect rules through the cockpit, right? So it's pretty free, it's pretty lightweight, and it's very efficient. So let's see the video. So here I'm actually on the one namespace where it's not installed, so you get that message which tells you have to basically deploy the redirect. So you can see here there is no redirect, right? That's the redirect I will create, and I will show you that now it doesn't work. So the first thing to do is to deploy the redirect server. You can do that through the Cockpit. 22 was not intended. I realized later I typed 22, but it's okay. I mean, it will work. So you can see here now the redirect is deploying next to the public and the outer instance with the 22 replicas. Well, I just restarted to show you how fast it's restarting in seconds, those 22. It's a pretty lightweight redirector. And now we are going to define the redirect flows, right? Simple one. I will take that one, which I want to redirect to the blog of Magnolia. Here we go. You can also use a regular expression, right? But I won't do it here. So it's here, it's in the cockpit, but you can see it created. It needs to be now published to the redirect server in order to work, right? So it doesn't work. We do that so you can maintain the history of your redirect. So in case you do a redirect which is messing the whole website, you can just go check the restore button, go back to a previous version of your redirect. And once we publish it, basically the redirect restarts to get the new configuration, and the redirect is running through. The last one, promise, then you can have a break to break after it. The ingress, and that's work in progress, but I will tell you why we did that. Is the Kubernetes API the ingress API in Kubernetes is going to change, right? It's already evolving. They prevent using snippet and things like this, but they will freeze the API and go for something called the gateway API. So what we want you to do is to make an ingress public API on our side. So we will manage a Magnolia ingress, and we'll deal with how it is translated into Kubernetes. So right now it will be an ingress, in about 1 or 2 years it will be a gateway API. So what we want to do now is to move customer away from the Kubernetes ingress to the Magnolia ingress, and we have an operator in the background making the conversion between the Magnolia ingress and the Kubernetes ingress. And the day the gateway is out, the operator will do the job with the gateway API. So let's have a look. It's a pretty cool one. So that one will be released in the coming weeks by batch. So for few customers first, and then we will just continue the evolution. So you can see so that's basically the ingress I'm going to create, not yet here. On that screen, that's the engineering ingress, that's the Kubernetes ingress, and that's the cockpit. So it's for people who actually log into Launcher, you will not get lost because we use the same words, right? But basically, in here, I will just set a little bit more of body size, 16, and I will save. I will first define the rules, and I will save. So that's the domain I want to point to my author. Start with / going to the author services and Kubernetes on the ATL port. And that's all. Here we go. Certificate, I can actually choose an existing one, but I will choose the first one, which is on demand. And then Kubernetes will generate a certificate just for that ingress. So here as well, I haven't published yet, so you don't see anything yet, right? So there is no MGNL ingress, there is no Kubernetes ingress, and the ingress is not, of course, not working, because like for the redirect, you need to publish it, because we keep version of your ingress now. Well, we will just publish the first one. So it's sync. Now we'll switch to launcher. You can see the ingress is here, created with our data coming from the UI. And I will switch to the to the Kubernetes here, and you can see now it's created as well. The operator did the job and converting the Magnolia ingress into the Kubernetes ingress, and now you can see it's working, effective. You can access Magnolia. Let's actually fine-tune a little bit the ingress. So I'm going to add my local IP, which was in Spain when I did the video. There you go. So you want to restrict, for instance, the access to the author to a specific IP range. You go here, you paste your IP or your IP range. You can see it's still not going to work because I need to publish. Here we go. So now I will refresh and you will see the IP which is here. And you will see how it has been translated into the ingress in a bit. So it's an Nginx annotation here. Here we go. And the last one is a case we get very often, but that's still working because I'm on the same IP. And now I'm going to add a custom header. That's something which changed into Kubernetes recently, right? Before we used to do it with snippet annotation. Now it's forbidden. So basically that's to show you how the operator is dealing with that. So you will define your extra header as a simple map into the cockpit or publish. There you go. In here, I will refresh. You will see somewhere in the middle here. Here, that's a simple map in the custom resources. And when you will refresh here, you will see now it's not anymore a snippet, but it's a link to a config map, which is created by the operator. The config map is here, and you will see here all the custom header you want to set, right? That's the new Kubernetes way of doing things. And you can, of course, see when I connect here, you can see that the custom header has been set into my response. And I think that's okay for the videos. I didn't spend too much time on the logs and metrics features. That's the very original feature, but they are going to have a heavy lifting in the next quarter because we have a different metrics and logs data source. So it's keep to. I think we'll show you a bit of that. The user management, you can manage user, you can manage your SSO configuration. So in case you use SSO module with Magnolia and you have to stick to your SAML, you can't configure the SSO module of Magnolia to SAML, right? So when you're on the path, so what we offer you is to use the keyplay. So you configure SAML to the keycloak and you go from OIDC from keycloak to Magnolia instance. And that's possible to manage through the Cockpit. Of course, we display different type of alerting. Alerting is sent by email, by Slack, but it's also displaying the Cockpit. And of course, we have all the CDN toolkit you can imagine. So geofencing, HFlock APIs to manage Fastly if you use Fastly. If you use your own CDN, that feature is deactivated. What's coming next?
Thank you, Adrian, for those demos of the latest and greatest Cockpit features. So I think I have 5 minutes. I don't want to steal any time of your coffee break. I want to quickly dive into the roadmap, what you can expect from the Cockpit if you are already working with our cloud solution. So Adrian already touched it quickly. New log and metrics, backend and front end as well. So we basically have a middleman now in place for log and metrics aggregation, which we then will make available to the Cockpit as well. Logs will be much faster, more performant. Metrics will be more performant. We have a report section in the Cockpit as well, where you can download your reports, availability, traffic, all those things, and basically have monthly or on-demand reports. Then a health UI or health API, that's, I would say, one of the biggest leaps forward for the Cockpit, apart from what we just have seen from Adrian. So if you are already familiar with a project on DX Cloud, you know before the go live, we do a pre-go live check to check if the project is ready. If everything is basically on green, it's still a manual check. If everything is in green, you have basically the go from our side to go live with your project as well. So what we want to achieve with the Health API and Health UI is that we do all those checks automatically, not only before going live with your website, but basically from the get-go of your project. So you will be informed and you have a dashboard in the cockpit from day one when you start developing your projects, so that you really can see, hey, am I on the right track with my project? Then UI modernization, I have a couple of slides showing you a small glimpse into the new UI of the cockpit, so that will be then a heavy lifting for our front-end team as well. And of course, we listen to your feedback that we get from the cockpit, fill our backlog with the feedback we get from our customers, and try to improve as much as possible. So, yeah, would you like a sneak peek? Thank you for that slide, Adrian. So I'm working closely with Bartosz. You saw him this morning. He presented his part of the front end stuff. So I'm working closely together with him, but also, of course, with the new awesome design system that you already saw some stuff this morning from Topher as well. So we try to adapt the new UI from the Magnolia application to the cockpit as well. So it looks, you have seen the old UI that Adrian showed, and this will be the new one. So it's well, I would say it's much improved in visibility, in UI, and always in UX as well. UX in terms of much sleeker processes. We will link between different features in the cockpit as well, so that, for instance, troubleshooting will be much easier for the user of the cockpit. So I think one of the biggest improvements, that's actually the Ingress self-service that you have just previously seen. You have seen it's an overlay. In the new design, it will be incorporated into the viewport of the cockpit, and you actually have steps. So you go through the steps, create the ingress, edit the ingress, rather than having tons of tabs where you have to click through and add your information or edit your ingress. So those are small sneak peek. So we hope we can roll out the new design by the end of the year. But of course, as Adrian already mentioned, our focus is now really on feature completeness in the cockpit, but also having the new metrics and logs endpoint with our third-party tool that we have in place. And we have a testimonial. That's my favorite part. Yeah. Who doesn't know that guy, right? Christian Menzel. He is an absolute cockpit lover, right? He works with it day out and day in and day out. He likes to present that to customers as well and give them run-throughs. And I mean, if Christian Menzel doesn't love the cockpit, who else should, right? I mean, it's really, yeah, give a round of applause to Christian. No, really, it's an internal joke. He's I would say a huge advocate of the cockpit because he works for Magnolia since a long time. He is a Kubernetes expert. He's a DevOps expert, and we try to incorporate his feedback as well because he works with the customers on a daily basis and gets actually the feedback from the customers as well. So we try to please Christian with our sales services in the cockpit because we know if he likes it, our customers will like it as well. So a small joke at the end, right?
It's a hard task to
It's a hard task, yes. So, hey, thank you very much. That's it from the cloud team today. And handing it back to Topher.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Lucas and Adrian. Okay, do we have any questions? See one in the back?
Thanks. Is there any update on the backup storage feature?
Yeah, well, yes, we have actually completed the POC this morning. It's about changing the way we deploy the database, right? It's basically using the CNPG operator. And I think Fabi was hiding behind the door over there, was doing the... That's the guy we did the POC this morning, basically. So now we know how to do it. It's going to be exposed through the cockpit. And you will be able to manage your backup, restore, and all through the cockpit.
So today we rely on the Postgres version, so we will move. It's going to be a migration effort as well. We will do it during a maintenance window, so we move to cloud-native Postgres, and then we can hopefully re-enable the backup restore feature in the cockpit as well. So it's actually a feature that haunts me since my first day at Magnolia. So I really hope we can solve it now with CNPG.
No pressure, Fabi.
Any more questions? We've got one up in the front here.
You showed your new Cockpit and how is the branch are completed, but we now actually, in the past, you removed the access to the Kubernetes API mostly, so we restricted what we are doing. How much fun documentation are you doing with the memory ingress so we can apply it ourselves, like GitOps approach?
Actually, yeah, it's something we didn't show, but we have a new documentation mechanism, which is not here. It's Alex, the head of documentation, right? But he did embedded documentation into the cockpit, right? So you don't need to jump. I don't know if you're familiar with tools like Keycloak. Every field has a question mark. You can click, and it tells you what the field is doing. He also has a guided tour for every single feature. So you click, and it's guiding you what to click, what it does, and it linked to the documentation he's writing in the documentation website, right? So that's still experimental. It's actually already prod for redirect, will be for ingress. And but that's something we want to do. So he loves getting feedback, good feedback. And then the automation will basically bring the documentation where you need it. So you can see a small doc, and if it doesn't suit you, you click and you go to the documentation page. And you have there, the intention is also to have tutorials, and not only like a documentation, pure documentation, but also use case description and tutorials.
Further questions? All right, thank you so much, guys. Yeah.